wireless. Multi-language on the keypad, I think it's version 2 and higher keypads. You can actually have multiple languages like French, Chinese, English, stuff like that. And Portuguese, I think is well. And obviously with wireless, because you can add wireless X-Wave 1 or X-Wave 2 devices, you can add wireless sensors. If we go to the page number 4, you'll see there's some of the features. There's a lot of features. I'm just going to point out the most important ones. Your panel, either the X16 or X64, is expandable for the X16 up to 16 zones and the 64 up to 64 zones. And you can divide those zones in up to 8 partitions. Now, one is obviously a zone, as we know, is a place on the panel that you're going to connect your devices to, like a passive or a door sensor or panic button or stuff like that. Now, a partition is, let's say for instance you've got a situation where you do installation at a house. Now the people want to have obviously like passive door sensors inside the house, and they want to have maybe safety beams on the outside perimeter. Now let's say for instance the people come home at night and they know they're not going to go outside anymore. They're just going to move inside the house, make food, watch TV, stuff like that before they go to sleep. They want to arm the beams on the outside perimeter. Then you're going to put those beams on a different partition, because then you can set up a stay, what they call a stay profile. We can say, and you can have up to 4 different profiles, where you can say these beams outside. If I arm them, I can put them maybe on partition 2, and I can arm them. But the ones inside will still be disabled. Only when I go to sleep, then I will arm the ones inside the house as well. Stuff like that. Another example of why you will maybe use partitions is, let's say there is a business park, like a big complex, and there's a lot of companies inside this one building. Now, instead of having, let's say there's 3 companies sharing this one building, with a number of offices each. Now, instead of having 3 different alarm systems for each company, to arm you when they go away or when they come into disarm the alarm panel, instead of having 3 different alarm panels, you can still run one. Then you basically say those offices for company number 1, I'm going to put under partition 1. These offices with their sensors, whatever, I'm going to put under partition 2, and those ones for partition 3. So I'll go into the programming, I'll show you guys here, and you allocate those zones to their partition, those zones to their partition, and those zones to their partition. So now you can have 3 keypads on the main panel, and the one keypad will be for partition 1, the second keypad will be for partition 2, the third keypad will be for partition 3. And those guys can arm their partition separately from those ones, when they go away earlier or when they come in earlier and stuff like that. That's another example where you will use it. Okay. And you can have one device on one partition, or you can have flippant. Let's say you've got an X64 panel. You can have 63 zones on one partition and one zone on another partition. So there is no limit there. You can even have one zone on 2 partitions. But just remember that then you have to, both people have to arm from their keypads, both partitions for that device to be active. Okay. If there is a shared area, maybe we'll talk like that. Okay. So you can have up to 4 stack profiles per partition, and I'll show you guys how you can put up a stack profile. Like let's say, let's say you can have 1 stack profile for like the situation where, like for the safety beams outside and the air and the beams inside, after the sensors inside, or maybe another stack profile for maybe your bedroom and the other sensors in the living room, kitchen that you want to have active. Maybe you want to have another stack profile if you're just moving around in your bedroom, but you want the other ones in the house to be. So, but you can have up to 4 different ones. Okay. And you can add up to 128 users to the X series panels. So you can have 128 people with all their own unique code, obviously, to arm and disarm it. And you can give each one a remote as well to arm and disarm the panel via remote. But then obviously you're going to need the remote receiver that you will connect via the keypad bus, the same as we did there as well. Okay. And you can add up to 4 remote receivers to make up a total of 128. go to the main, on page number 5, you will see there is the panel for the 8, the X64, like the one I showed you here. You will see there is a jumper. There, on the left-hand side, kickstart jumper. What that means is, if you run, let's say there's load shedding, there's no AC mains coming into the, from the transformer, you will see there's your connection, 16 volt from your 16 volt transformer. If there's load shedding, it only runs off the battery. Now, when the battery goes below 10.5 volts, the panel is going to switch off, because the panel will protect the battery. You don't want to run a battery down below 10.6 volts if it is a lead acid battery, normal 12 volt, 7-8 hour battery. To protect the battery from getting damaged, it switches off at 10.6. But let's say you're in a bit of a problem area here and you need to get that panel up, even if it's a little bit below 10.6, you know, just maybe to disarm something, you know, or whatever. Then you can jump that, take a jumper and put it over the kickstart. Then you will be able to run it from the panel. Default button. You will see there is a default button on the panel over there. See there? Now, let's say for instance, you've programmed your panel, but now you want to reprogram it. You maybe took it, you're taking it somewhere else, and you want to program it for different situations, or maybe you made a fault, or you can't forget, you forgot to install your master code or stuff like that. Then, what you do is, you switch off the power, plug the batteries out as well, so there's no power on the unit. Then you press that button in, keep it pressed in, you switch on the power back, you keep it in for about 20 seconds. You'll see there's a status LED just below the button. After 20 seconds or so, it will start flashing. Then you release the button, then you will see on your keypads, then you will say unregistered, 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 it will reboot, and then everything that you program on it will be wiped out. And you can go and reprogram it again. Then, yeah, so there's your status LED. There's your serial connection for your HIC app or the XSMS module. Or if you want to program your panel via the IDS2 software, then you need the USB to serial cable that you're going to plug in there. There is 5 programmable outputs on board. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll do a look a little bit later on there, but normally, I think number 1 is if a panic is pressed, either on the panic button or on the remote. If you keep any button in for longer than 3 seconds, it acts like a panic button. Then, obviously, if you've got your contact ID radio, the one that communicates to the wherever your security service, what's the guys in this area mostly? I don't remember the name now. But whoever the security company is, the armed response guys, then it will send obviously a signal to them, the contact area, there is a panic being pressed, and there will be a pulse output as well that you can use maybe to switch something on, maybe like a strobe light or outside lights, floodlights, you know, stuff like that. So these programmable outputs you can use to switch on and switch off devices, basically. Okay. I think output number 3 you can use. That one it doesn't send out pulses. That one you can latch. So that one you will actually use if you want to switch on your floodlights or whatever. But then remember, you just need to have a 220 volt relay that you're going to have on your live wire that goes to the main panel. This one is basically just to switch on the main 220 volt relay to switch on your floodlights. A pulse output you can use maybe to open your gate if you've got a sliding gate like that, or a garage door mat or something like that. Because those devices on the control board, you just need a little pulse and then it will open up. Or maybe a boom. The boom only, on the control part of the boom, on the trigger input, only needs a pulse as well. Or even a turnstile. Anything that you can think of, you can automate via those programmable outputs. Okay. Then you will see there's your onboard expander connector. So let's say for instance, now there's my 8 onboard zones, I want to expand to 16 zones, then I'll take the one that I plug onto there to extend it to 16 zones. And then you will see at the bottom there's your connectors. We'll get to those ones just now. Over there is the X806 panel. You will see the difference is, obviously this one doesn't have the phone line monitoring for landline phones, and obviously you can only do 8 zones, wide 8 zones. Your kickstart jumper, like we said, if your battery goes down below 10.6 volts, it will cut off, but if you want to run it anyway on the battery, then you just need to put the kickstart jumper on. There's your default button, like we said, to default your panel, and your panel status LED, the one just below that button there. If it is off, that means your panel is not running. If it flashes once a second, like normal operation, and if it flashes fast, then you know there is a system on your fault on your panel system. And there's your serial connector for your HYPE or your XSMS module. Now this one is obviously the XSMS module, and you will see there is the SIM card that you're going to put in. Remember, you must have data on it to get SMSs or to use SMSs to switch on your alarm or switch it off. And make a note of this. That red wire, you'll see there's a red wire. Always, and there's a heatsink, this heatsink here. The red wire must always be closest to the heatsink, because it's very easy to change it around and force it in and you break the connector. Okay. So just always make sure that the red wire faces the heatsink. And then, just one thing, they say that there is jumpers J1 and J2 over there. Over there. J1, J2 and J3. They say that, note, as from X Series 2.5 panels, if you've got an X Series 2.5 and above, then you don't need to set J1. However, in previous X Series versions, it's used to set serial mode to reporting or using your RES52 software when you program the panel. So for X Series panels version 2.0 to version 2.41 only, you need to put the jumper over J1 to enable the serial reporting either via your XSMS module or your HYPE module. And when you do the programming, then you need to change it, you need to take a jumper off when you connect your laptop onto there. Okay. But the newer panels, you don't have to do that, but just the older ones, version 2.5 and above, you don't have to worry about it. And there's your programmable outputs, the 5 onboard ones. By default, okay, they say that the 5 positively triggered, it is a positive output that it gives out. Some of your paradox alarm systems, their programmable outputs gives out a negative pulse, but anyway. Okay, so by default, output number 1 will pulse if a panic or a release is triggered. Or output number 2 will pulse if a burglary condition is triggered. In other words, let's say for instance, if panic picks up somebody breaking in, then it will send out a pulse on output number 2. And output number 3 will latch on when the system is away armed. In other words, when you're on the panel, then one will latch. In other words, the relay in there will close. What a lot of people do, they take an LED light and they connect it on output number 3. So then by your entrance, your main entrance, where the keypad is on the inside, we take the wire, obviously that negative will be connected to the negative of the LED, and the positive will go to input number 3. And they put it, they take the wires and they drill a hole through the roof, through the wall, whatever, and then all through the roof. And on the outside they take like a piece of PVC pipe and they put the LED in there. You know, one of those like a big ones. So when you're on the system, or when the system is on and you get home, you can see that if the light is on, you know the alarm is on. And when we disarm it with a remote or whatever, you know that it is off. So it's just a status indicator that you can use. So there is a handy output that you can use. And output number 4 and number 5, output number 4 will pulse if a fire condition is triggered, and output 5 will pulse if a medical condition is triggered. So maybe if you want, let's say for instance, you like at an old people's home or like at a hospital, something like that, if a medical, you will see on your keypads, you can assign a medical button and a fire button as well. So if there is a medical condition, if you press that button, medical condition button, then you can have maybe like a siren in the nurse's office go off, stuff like that. Or for fire, okay, South Africa, the fire department isn't going to come about it, but maybe you can connect it to your sprinkler system or whatever, I don't know. Okay, your sprinkler system. But, okay, I won't do that. Then, at the bottom, your connectors, all the connectors at the bottom of your panel. So in other words, from the left-hand side at the bottom, all the way through, we're going to have a look at those connectors quickly. And we can take the 4-minute break. Okay, so, right at the left-hand side at the bottom, you'll see there's your 16 volts AC. That is for your AC power. You'll see your transformer that you plug in by the wall. And then you'll take the live wire and the neutral wire, and that will go into the 16 volts AC. And then you take your earth wire, and you'll see between, right at the bottom, on the right hand side, see there's an earth connection there. Then you connect your earth wire to that earth on your panel. Yeah, straightforward, easy. But they say that the minimum transformer you can use is a 16 volt 32 VA transformer. But the recommended transformer is a 16 volt 40 VA transformer. Okay. Your TX connection over there, the second one, you'll see there's a positive and a negative connection there. That is for your contact ID radio. Now these radios you cannot install as an installer. The security company must come and install it because they're the only guys that's licensed to deal with those radios, obviously for security reasons. But it's easy to connect as well. It's just two wires, positive and negative. So the positive will go to the positive on the radio and the negative will go to the negative. And they say that the TX connection can supply enough power for radios up to 15 watts. If you need more power, then you have to take it from that auxiliary. You see there's your auxiliary connection there that you can use. And they say that note, please use cable with a minimum of 0.5 millimeter copper core, depending on the distance between the system and the radio transmitter. If your radio transmitter is going to be a long distance, if it's not, most people put it right there by the panel, but if it's going to be a long distance, then you might need to use maybe 0.8 millimeter or 1 millimeter thicker wire for more current to go through on a long distance. Okay. And then, your auxiliary 12 volts output, you'll see there's two positives and two negative connections. Now this is where you will take the power, obviously like for your passives or all the devices that needs power that you will run, except the ones that goes for the keypad box, because remember the keypad box has got a positive and negative as well. And you can take up to 750 milliamps from that auxiliary output there. So what it means is, your panel can give power for your passives and all other devices that need power up to 750 milliamps. Now that is normally enough for all the, if you've got 8 devices, like let's say you've got 8 passives connected here, hardwired. Now, if you need more than 750 milliamps, then you're going to need a smart expander card that you can connect a separate power supply from, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Okay, how are you going to do that? But just remember, you can only get 750 milliamps up to 750 milliamps. For instance, see there is my passive connection to give power to my passive, and I've got a lot of passives. So the best thing to do is check on the spec sheet of your device, see how many milliamps it uses, and add them all together and see if it is less than 750, then you're golden. If it's above that, you're going to need a separate power supply for the extra ones. A lot of the time, the people that use the outside beams, now the outside beams, they use a lot of power. So they put that on a separate small expander card with a separate power supply for those outside beams. And you still got just 750 milliamps for the devices that you got on the main panel. But I'll show you guys how you will do the connections a bit later on. Okay. And then your siren, you'll see the next connection there. There's your siren connection, positive and negative, up to 30 watts sirens that you can put on. Most sirens is either 15 watt siren or a 30 watt siren. So you can either put one 30 watt siren on, or you can put two 15 watt sirens on your panel. Maybe if you put one 15 watt inside the building and one maybe on outside, then you can, if it's a really big building, stuff like that. And then your zones, like we said, zone 1, you see there. Okay, obviously your keypad plus connection, positive and negative plus you want it. But there is zone 1 and common and zone 2, so they share a common, like I'll show you guys on the board. And the same for the 3 and 4 shares a common, 5 and 6 shares a common, and 7 and 8 shares a common. And you'll see there is a dedicated panic zone that you can go and put a panic button on. They just made it so that you don't unnecessarily take a zone up for just a panic button. But I mean, you can add more than one panic button on your panel. Then you're going to use maybe one of those ones for the panic button. But that one is just to save yourself space. And then, like we said, your phone line for your landline monitoring. Before we get there, see there on page number 8, 6.5 of that. See there that I've got a normally, see that switch is open and I want to close. So this is normally open device like a panic button, where I've got the resistance in parallel. And there's a normally closed device where I've got the resistor in series. But now there's another way that you can use end-of-line resistors, which is called for Tamper. Tamper function. A lot of security companies, when they do installations, they prefer to use Tamper function because for added security, if your device has got a anti-tamper function, like for instance, maybe this passive, if I go and come from the back, I'll try to open the device to try to sort out the wires or bypass unit or whatever. The minute I open the device, there's a little anti-tamper switch that will pick up when I open the device, and it should trigger my alarm panel as well. But for that to be active, I need to use 2 resistors. I'm going to use, instead of using a 3.3K resistor like normally, I will use 2 resistors, a 4.7K resistor and a 12K resistor. Now, if I open up my passive, and it has got, obviously not all of them have got anti-tampering functionality, but if they do, you'll see it's got, see the tamper there connection. There's my 12 volts, positive and negative, that I will take from the auxiliary, no problem with that. And there's my common and normally close that I would normally go to my zone, on the right, like I show you guys on the board. But now for the tamper function, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take from the 1 tamper output, I'm going to go to the common on my zone, on the main panel. And let's say I want to connect to zone 1, I'm going to take that zone wire to common, and I'm going to take those 2 resistors, put both legs into the other tamper connection, take the one to normally closed and the other one to common as well. Then it will pick up if somebody opens the device, if your unit has got an anti-tamper switch into it. And there they show us the panic zone, and there's my panic button. See what they did there. This will obviously be on the inside, not on the outside. On the inside, where I just connected my resistor in there. And there's your telephone connection. So if you've got a landline coming in, sometimes what happens, not nowadays as much because we've got cell phones nowadays, but like in the older days, what the burglars used to do, they cut the telephone line on the outside of the building, so you can't phone the police when, if they're trying to break in. So to monitor your telephone line, if they do cut the telephone line outside the building, where the telephone lines come into your house or your building, you take those 2 wires and you will go to line in, line in, and then the phone out, those 2 connections you will take to your telephone. And then they show us on page number 9, the onboard expansion connection. Let's say, for instance, I want to obviously expand it now from zone 9 to zone 16. You see that connector there? I will plug it into there and it goes on the main panel. So then I put zone 1 to 8 and zone 9 to 16 on the panel. Okay, before we carry on, let's take a 5 minute break. Okay.